Hello. J team, let me know whether you are able to hear my voice or not, because I've been talking and I think there was something glitch in my mic. I wasn't able to hear your voice that effectively well. Let me know in the chat window if you are able to hear my voice or not. Okay, once again, probably there was a glitch in my mic. I'm very sorry about that. I just rectified the glitch itself. So yeah, my name is Akash Malhotra, dear team, and I'll be your financial analyst for today. And I welcome you behalf from financial analyst family. It's an amazing week for us. It's a complete week was amazing for us. We had a lot of financial news lined up for us. We had one of the good trades in FTT. We have amazing trades in Forex as well. Especially for this week, we have 6 fundamental news lined up for us. And trust me, all the news trade, those people who know how to work up with economic calendar, ended up making a good amount of profit. And it's an amazing profit. So my objective is to help you understand what are the good points or good areas on which we could enter a market and make or maximize our potential on that. Okay, so we have some comments up here. I was actually, okay, dear team, let me know if you have any difficulty regarding anything at all on the platform. I'll be talking much more detail regarding how financial market was, but most of the time I'll be reading your comments as well, and you can also tell me where should we take a trade or not. So yeah. Okay, so let's hear your comments. Okay, no audio. Okay, I'm very sorry about that. So that was a technical glitch from my end. Probably I just reconnected it and everything's sorted right now. I believe I'm audible now. So Mahendra ji said Hindi. Mahendra ji, today's special stream would be conducted on English. Although you can join our special webinars on our Hindi YouTube channel, Olymp Trade India. And yeah, we have webinars, especially I believe each and every day conducted on the global channel as well as the Indian channel, which has been specifically targeted at the Indian audience, which you can resemble at the much greater strength. Okay, so moving on, I believe there are 3 or 4 market updates, and I'll be teaching you how to work up with that as well. Let's start with a simple analyzing or reverse. I'll tell you how to work up with the reverse analysis using economic calendar data and how to work up with the data. So let's start with some good news, right? Let's start with one of the best financial news. I'll be giving you a little market update from my end. So the very first and beautiful news came from Asia Composite Index. Now I told majority of my client, Asia Composite Index is one of the beautiful asset on which if you find a price below 5910, any price below 5910, there is a very good opportunity for us to open up a trade in upward direction. And it did work miraculously well. Not only like I just received a couple of emails just half an hour before where some of the clients shared their profitability and they ended up making like around 200% profit, especially on this Asia Composite Index. Now these trades you will be able to take trades in FTT as well as in Forex. Okay, so I am just reading your comment. Let me read your latest comment. Why in, okay, so Mr. Yoho said why in strategy, why in starting strategy works, but after some time the strategy we use don't work. Oh, okay, that's a very good question, sir. So let me tell you, dear team, no trading strategy can be 100% accurate. Our objective is to make at least 60% profitable trade on a single trading session. Trading strategy are highly derived based on mathematical modeling, which we use different sort of indicators and oscillators. Absolutely. So whenever you are taking trades using a simple trading strategy, my objective is to enter a market at the very moment where there is a very high probability for me to make profit. So let's just suppose like 60-70% chances are there for the profitability. But sometimes markets are driven by fundamental analysis news, and yeah, that might be one of the reasons where the trading strategy fails to read those moments. So yeah, that might be one of the reasons, dear team. Okay, let's move up with the move ahead with the conversation. I was talking about Asia Composite Index, right? Look at Asia Composite Index. It's fallen drastically to the bottomest level, and yeah, yesterday night only I was having a discussion with some of my client, and I asked them to, if that would be fine. It is an amazing opportunity. So what I did, I went up with $4,000 trade. If you look at this, and the trade is still alive. The value of leverage I have selected, that's the important one. I went with just 100 multiplier. Now what was the main reason behind using 100 multiplier? If you watch it very closely, this is a 1-day graph for Asia Composite Index, and this is the history of this specific asset. Now if you watch it very closely, this asset never been able to breach below 5852 level. And if you look at my $4,000 trade, I could have selected my stop loss level was below this specific level. So that means there were very less chances for my trade to close automatically. That was one of the reasons why I went with $4,000 here. I was testing this theory out in my demo account, and if you find out in my demo account, I was able to make it was in the morning, it was around more than 200% profit, but still it's a good profit margin, dear team. It's a very good profit margin. $4,000, $7,000 in return. It's an amazing return one can ever have. Although it's my demo trade, but if you look at my live trade, it's still going on. I ended up making 35%, which is around $1,426 and still alive. So I believe it still have a very good potential. So starting from now onwards, dear team, make Asia Composite as your star asset, or which is an important asset, and in which any price below 5910 can be considered as a very good opportunity for buying in upward direction with the use of moderate set of multiplier. So not only on Forex I ended up making profit, but here is my FTT trades. So we know for sure there was a very high probability for Asia Composite Index to rise, and that's why we took the trade for 23 hours, not for a minute, not for an hour. We went ahead with 23 hours expiration time. Isn't that amazing? So not only on this account, I ended up making profit on my INR account as well. If you look at this 30,000 rupees I was able to make, and there was considerable couple of trades I also have taken on this one. So if you look at this, $85 trade volume I made and $27 profit I made. So overall, Asia Composite Index yielded me profitability of more than, I believe, $1,500. Okay, now dear team, in the last week, I don't know how many of you have seen my last stream. If not, please go through it once. Fed interest rate decisions were taken day before yesterday, on 20th. I'm just showing the calendar right now. And before that, we see that majority of the time the Fed interest rate decisions came out, the actual and forecast value tends to be equal. Now, if you follow this asset specifically, you will realize, go ahead, if you are not very certain about which data to check and how to reverse check or how to reverse analyze this data, click on the data, scroll it down, and you will see the history of the data itself. What I want you to do, if you want to take trades on any specific asset of your choice, on any major fundamental analysis news, just observe 3 previous data. That's all you need to do. And this is how I was able to make a good amount of profit on dollar index. I'll show you just one candle in here. So let's just compare one of the data release, right? So let's just compare on 14th of July. On 14th of June, I believe, yes, it's 14th of June, the last data was released, and actual and forecast value again tends to be equal. So if you let's just compare dollar index right now. Dear team, this is just a market analysis, and what I want you to do is just analyze the market right now with me, because this will give you a very strong perception how we can work up with this data and how we will be able to generate a humongous amount of profit using this. Okay, so have a very closer look on this one. So what we are doing is we are shuffling the graph exactly on the same date. So if you observe it closely, on 14th of July, on 14th of June, I'm so sorry, on 14th of June, the same data was released, and the timing is exactly 11:30. This is according to the Indian Standard Time. On 14th of June, you will see the exact timing, which is Fed interest rate 11:30. Let's go through the history of the data. I'm just showing you the dollar index. Now, why dollar index? Because dollar index is basically comprises of $6 currencies. The highest priority was given to Euro USD, then GBP USD, AUD USD, and so on and so forth. Okay, so what I'm doing right now, I'm just reconfirming data and try to evaluate the position. Now, I want you to watch this very closely, dear team. This is how reverse analysis works. Okay, we zoom it in. Exactly around 11:30, the data was released, and what you can see this. There is a very big impulsive candle in here. Okay, exactly around 11:30. There's a big impulsive candle here. But before the data was released, what can you observe? The price of dollar started decreasing. Not only this time, but majority of the time happens. And this gives us a trading advice for this specific week. On 20th of September, when this data was released, I'll show you my trade, dear team. Have a very closer look on this. This is my FTT trades which I have taken. Can you look at these trades? I went with $125 into the downward direction before even the data was released. 13 hours and 7 minutes. We know for sure the dollar index will be decreasing, but we never know on what time it will be doing. So in order to keep up a very good difference between the opening and closing price, we went up ahead with the highest expiration time, 13 hours and 7 minutes. Not only on this, if you look at price of dollar, again it started decreasing. So we took another trade and a trade after that, $320 for 6 hours, $256. We ended up making profit on this one. This is how reverse analysis works. Now I'll give you a little ideology about this. Okay, so we have some comments lined up for us. Okay, so let's go ahead. Let me read your comments, dear team. Okay, so we have a recent comment from Mr. Thug Life, Mr. Akash Chopra. Okay, my name is Akash Malhotra. So I want to know why basic dollar index is different than other dollar index we see on other platform. Okay, so hear me out, dear team. And it's a very good question, sir. Asia Composite Index, if you on different platform, maybe just because of the liquidity provider, but on Olymp Trade, this dollar index comprises of 6 different currency pairs, and you can actually read this one, right? So the highest weightage was given to Euro USD, and then in the descending order it was given to USD JPY, GBP USD, USD CAD, AUD USD, and USD CHF. These are how this has been done. But if you watch it very closely, the price of dollar index works exactly opposite to the price variation in Euro USD. I'll show you the candle itself. They are mirror image of each other, sir. This we call it as a negative correlation. It's a negative correlation. Even if you watch this dollar index for a day and Euro USD for a day, you will see they are negatively correlated. Can you see this impulse? This one is straight up increasing and this one is decreasing. Now this again gives us a very good opportunity, because as I told you, the price of dollar could have been increasing. First of all, the price of dollar was keep on decreasing. So we took a trade in basic dollar index in downward direction, and dollar index works exactly opposite to the variation in gold. And this is where we took the trade in gold, dear team. I'm just about to show you my trade in gold. So these are my FTT trades, and we'll go ahead with Forex one. Okay, so and if you observe it very carefully, every trade which I have taken is been taken very cautiously. Look at this. With $200, I ended up making around $197. But the most important thing that you will observe here is my closing time is 23:29:43. That means 17 seconds before Fed interest kicks in. exactly around 11:30. If you watch below the candle, there is a timing written in here which suggests it is 11:30, and the market started plumbing down. We know for sure the market will rise for this. And look at the price in USD JPY. That's why we took a trade 4 minutes before on Euro USD in upward, that too in upward direction. So yeah, it's all profitable for us. In fact, in this week when I was having consultations with a lot of clients, I was discussing about another aspect of trading. Okay, so we still have another comments. Thank you for your explanation, sir. It's my pleasure. Stick to the strategy is a good thing, or we have to add 2-3 strategy for backup, and the strongest and weakest currency in Olymp Trade. So there is no strong or weak currency, I believe, sir, because the variation in currency is highly depending upon the market situations. But I can tell you on which time the market will be highly volatile, so that you will be able to refrain during the time. And at the same time, you can use the same opportunity to maximize your potential in case you love volatility. 2 to 3 trading strategy, yeah, 2 to 3 I usually have 4 trading strategy or 5 trading strategy. These are the strongest trading strategies of mine. I heavily rely on some trading strategy which works on, with trend approach, and some of the trading strategy works with a reversal approach, right? With trend approach, if you try to take a trade, it works amazingly well on index. Whereas against the trend, if you use, I'll majority of the time go ahead with the Bollinger Band theory, and it did work out well for me. All right. Okay, so we have another comment from Mr. Michael. Okay, it's been a very long time seeing you, Mr. Michael. A very warm welcome to webinar. Mr. Sayed said, kindly see Brent and what's your opinion on this. Okay, let's look at the value of Brent right now. Okay, so there is one more update that I wanted to give you, and we'll directly switch to the live trading part. If you have any concerns specifically, just ask us in the comment. I'll be reading your comments, dear team. Now the price of Brent, which we can see, it's stuck around $93 per barrel. It has a very good level of resistance, which we found out around 95 on the reverse analysis which we did. $94 to $95 per barrel for Brent would be an excellent opportunity to take up a trade in downward direction with, again, with the moderate set of multiplier of 20 or 30. We still have another comment. Okay, so could you advise us, trader, about the things that could get someone blocked, so we can avoid making such mistakes? Oh, sure, I would absolutely love to do that. Now there are 3 major reasons that I would suggest you to refrain from doing, because there can be a serious violation, but again the violations can be different one. The most important violation that no trader should do, to open more than one trading account. Refrain from doing that. The second one is use your own payment method. That would be beneficial for you. And the third aspect is avoid using bots, would be against the regulation of the platform. These are the 3 major things that you should avoid during trading. And yeah, I don't think like apart from any of these these major reasons, your account could get blocked. But again, there are certain exceptions are there. All right, so there's this last update that I really wanted to talk about, and then I'll jump back to your questions, dear team. So day before yesterday, I was having a word which I told you, and what I found out, there's an interesting thing that I wanted to tell you, because this is the update that will be helping you out in the next month. Trust me, and it is amazing. It's amazing. Okay, so what happens? So Bank of Japan releases their interest rate decisions. All right, and this is the decision. This is the data which I basically anticipate from a lot of time. I have been taking trades on Bank of Japan from probably 1.5 years, and it's never had happened that I lost a single amount during the time. Probably I'm not just boasting it out. It's the analysis that how it works, dear team. So this is what I wanted to tell you, right? So if you look at Bank of Japan interest rate decision, these guys never increase their interest rate from a very long time. If you scroll through the data and go ahead with this data, the actual and forecast value tends to be equal from more than 3 years. So what happens? During Bank of Japan news interest rate decisions, majority of the time the currency influenced by this data would be absolutely JPY. But if you look at USD JPY, this data, majority of the time following uptrend. This is a very critical information that I am sharing it with you. Majority of the time, Bank of Japan's candle follow uptrend. And this is not I am telling you just by the analysis. If you look at the history after December for Bank of Japan, it's always been an uptrend. It's always been an uptrend. Sometimes the candle variations are up to 2 yen, which yielded some of my client around 1200% profitability, and that is amazingly well done. So if you want to note it down, remember this Bank of Japan's data, there is a very high probability whenever it releases, it usually follow an uptrend. But the thing with this data is tentative. So sometime according to the Indian Standard Time, it shows you the data will be impacted around 8:30 or something, but this never happens. From my point of view, I'm telling you, this never happens. This data usually shuffles its time. So sometime it is around 8:22. Back in the time it was released around 9:17. So the timing usually shuffles with this data. What you need to do is you need to just keep on watching the graph, and as soon as the very first peaky candle happens to be there, you can open up a trade in upward direction for that. Achha, guys, are you enjoying today's session? I have been continuously talking. Let me know if you have any doubts, or if you want me to take some live trades in my trading app. We'll be just jumping up to that part. I thought these data would be very informative. Now, in case if you do not realize anything at all, I would highly request you to go ahead and have an exclusive session with my colleagues. We can teach you how to read this data. We can also tell you how to analyze this data and how to work up with this data. Alright, I'll be jumping to my live trading part right now. And before moving forward, I again wanted to tell you that the trades which I am taking in my trading accounts have been completely based on my experience. And repeating these actions, you act at your own discretion, dear team. Okay? Let's go ahead with today's topic. This is the complete market analysis we had, and starting from next month, I believe we will have the same opportunity once again. This week was full of opportunity. I ended up making more than $2,500 within a couple of days, and that too not in FTT but in Forex. Probably it would be much more than that, but it's just a rounded number which I am telling you. So you can also make a good trading results and make a profitability up to that margin. So for today, dear team, let's jump back to the strategy. Again, let me know, dear team, which trading strategy is your favorite one. And if time permits, we will be taking trades using your personal favorite trading strategy. So Olymp Trade gives you an opportunity for more than 20 trading strategy altogether. So what our objective is to get you informed about this trading strategy and how to maximize your potential on this one. So let's jump to the strategies. For today, we'll be using one of my favorite trading strategy, which is diving trading strategy. And you will definitely love it. Okay, so I have one question, so let me read your questions. Miss Kiryapak, you said, sir, at what time we have to open up a down trade in a dollar index before Fed news? So usually what we have seen in dollar index, before a day or starting from 14 to 15 hours when the data is about to impact, the price of dollars keep on decreasing. This is what I have been observing from a very long time. So you can use this advantage, use this question to your advantage, dear team. Please, okay, so we have a question from Mr. Joshi. How do we do a fundamental analysis on indices on your platform. On indices, okay, so that's a very good question. On indices, we have Asia Composite, Commodity Composite, and Euro Composite Index. Now, these index are actually contains more than that they have. So let's take an example for Asia Composite Index, dear team. Now, Asia Composite Index is actually comprises of more than, I believe, 300 assets altogether. Because if you look at this specific Nikkei 225, Nikkei 225 is actually an index which contains more than 225 assets. Hang Seng, it also an index which contains more than probably, I believe, 100 assets. So if you look at this Asia Composite Index, these special index, it barely works. In any major economic news event, the impact can barely work on this index. So yeah, if you're looking for an asset in which even during major economic news event, if you want to rely on any specific asset, you can go ahead with Asia Composite, Commodity Composite, and Europe Composite Index. All right, and yeah, if you want to know about a special news in trading, there is another side which I usually observe, which is trading economics. It tells you all the details just in here. All the details are visible in here, including interest rate decisions, jobless data, GDP growth data, everything in here. And following this, you can get a little idea about how the Asian index was, because sometimes the data also contains information regarding Indian index. So one of the reason why Asia Composite Index fall down, I was reading this article there, and one of the biggest reason was the Fed interest rate decisions, and that's why the Asia Composite Index started drifting apart and falling downward direction. Okay, so name of the trading strategy for today, we'll be using our special trading strategy, and that would be diving strategy. Once you click on this A symbol, click on enable strategy option, and everything will be applied automatically. Now, let me tell you, this trading strategy is exclusively available to the clients who are having advanced status as well as expert status. Now, in case some of you guys do not have an expert status, that's absolutely fine. If you are a starter status client, you can actually craft this trading strategy using these different sort of indicators and oscillators. In fact, I'll tell you how to do that. Okay, so we have another question. Hello sir, I have a strategy which is working 70% consistently with 3 martingale steps. My question is, how much amount should invest after losing 3 steps martingale trade? Every client, based on their trading account, follow martingale approach, sir. Now, if you are using martingale approach, you have to understand there are 3 to 4 steps. I usually use 3 steps or 4 steps. If I have an accuracy of around 25%, I still will be able to recover my funds on that. So martingale approach for me, it works on that. So I usually go ahead with 4 approach, and if I have a considerable amount, I go ahead with like 5-1. Okay, all right. Dear team, okay, so let's move up with the live session. So today the trading strategy that we are using is this special one, which is the diving strategy. Now, diving strategy is the combinations of 1 indicator and 2 oscillator. We call it as SMA 20. Now, if you know, SMA 20 stands for simple moving average of 20. What it is actually doing, it is averaging out last 20 candles and plotting a line, something like this. I'll tell you exact benefit of this because it works amazingly well for me. Watch it very closely. If you look at these candles are above this SMA line, that means it is an uptrend going on. And if the candle formation is below this line, then the trend is in downward direction. If the candle is above this line, then there is an uptrend, and if it is below this line, then there is a downtrend going on so far. The second confirmation that you will receive is from rate of change oscillator. Again, this is an amazing oscillator, particularly if you use it. Rate of change oscillator. Now, if you observe it carefully, dear team, look at this. We had a confirmation from rate of change. If the bars are following uptrend, that means the trend is in upward direction. If it is rising above 0, so this 0 is acting as a reference line, right? And if it is increasing something like this, here it is suggesting you that the trend is in upward direction. And if it is rising below 0, then it is a downtrend going on so far. So now we have to maximize our potential on this one, right? So what you need to do, we need a double confirmation while we are taking trades on any specific asset of your choice. So I believe if the candles are above this line, and then if you see there is an increase in these bars formation, this is a second confirmation that you will receive. And the third confirmation, dear team, you will be receiving if the bars formations are below this line. We have another SMA here. This rate of change oscillator is selected for 7 period. That means it will give you much quicker signals rather than our rate of change 14, since we are taking trades on the smaller time frame here especially. So yeah, you have to be careful about that. So what's the time frame that one should select? Yeah, this is the question. I believe it's from Mr. Vijay. So time frame is something, sir, if you select the graph for a minute, your expiration time should be double or triple of it. That means if I'm watching the graph for a minute, my expiration time should be 2 to 3 minutes. If I observe the graph for 5 minutes duration, my expiration time should be varying from any time between 7 to 15 minutes duration. You have to find a time which is very suitable for you. For me, higher time duration works effectively well. I usually go ahead with like more than 6 or 7 minutes duration expiration time. It can be really confirmed if you look at my last trading history. So these are my trades. If you look at these timings, they are majority of the time are on the higher time duration, right? If you can see this, these are my trades, and I have another sub account of mine in which I do have a slight little higher accuracy. Yeah, higher time duration. This is the trade which I was taking using the different trading strategies and approaches. Absolutely. Getting back to the strategy, dear team. The name of the strategy is once again diving strategy. For all the new traders, it's a diving trading strategy. And in diving trading strategy, we use these 3 approaches while taking a trade. We have to be very careful while taking a trade using this trading strategy. So let me tell you, okay, so our last trade was profitable, right? Is it? Okay, so I think we have taken a trade on this account, and yeah, it's profitable. So why did we basically took a trade in upward direction? So the reason behind that was, if you look at 1 minute duration graph, here the trend was in upward direction, correct? That's the first signal we received. And if you look at these bar formation, they were decreasing and pointing us in upward direction. That was the second signal for us. And the third signal for us was an upward flow from rate of change 7 oscillators, which was another indication for the trend to follow an upward direction trend, and that's why we took a trade in upward direction, dear team. If you have any question in particular, please feel free to ask me, dear team. I would love to answer your questions accordingly. Okay, so here is the situation. There is a slim possibility for the trade to be profitable, but since the candle is red, we are not very certain about it. Let me just zoom it in. I'm using risk-free trades of mine because I'm not very sure about this. We had a confirmation from in here. So this candle was forming above this line. That's the first signal. The second signal we received is from this line, which is pointing us in upward direction. That's why we went ahead with 3 minutes expiration time. And the third one is we should have been waiting for this confirmation. All right. So since we have used the risk-free trade, that won't be bothering for us for a while. Let's try to shuffle between the assets. And remember, dear team, no trading strategy can be 100% accurate on this one. But if you keep on analyzing the market in amazingly way, you will be able to make a very good profitability on that part. We did took a trade into the downward direction because here this red candle was crossing blue line from top to bottom, right, which is an indication for a downtrend. We had this confirmation from these bars, it was falling downtrend. And third one, there was a decrease in the area which we have seen. Let's try to shuffle between assets once again. Dear team, if you have any question, please feel free to ask me these questions. Okay, so there is a very good opportunity which we can see it in here. Okay, there will be a slight price correction happening, so let's wait for it. Above the candle, bars are pointing us in upward direction, and so as this area one is pointing us in upward direction. So the trades which I am taking are highly based on my experience, dear team. So be very careful while taking trades in your live account, because we are at least aiming for 60% accuracy. If you are able to get at least 60% accuracy, then that won't be problem. Like there is absolutely no chances that we will be in the non-profitable trades at times. Let's shuffle between the assets. I believe it's just redirecting right now into the downward direction. Okay, so why not go ahead with higher time duration? Since we are good in it, let's go ahead with higher time duration on this. Let's try to recover our funds on the gold trade. I believe it would be a non-profitable, a slightly non-profitable, but that won't be an issue for us. Okay, so one of the trades seems to be profitable, is it? So one trade is profitable, Asia Composite Index. It was profitable in the beginning but started to recover. Okay. Let's just look at it. I thought it was profitable in the very beginning. Okay. All right. What about Commodity Composite Index? Okay, it seems profitable as of now. All right. So out of 1, 2, 3, 4 trades, 2 trades are profitable. One is on the risk-free trade side, and one is on the non-profitable trade. Let's try to shuffle between assets, dear team. If you find any trading signals, please let me know, dear team. Okay, so we had another comment, sir. Gold and basic dollar index opposite? Yes, they work opposite. When the price of dollar increases, you can see exactly opposite variation in gold. They are opposite. They work opposite to each other, sir. If you take a trade in dollar index in upward direction, be very careful not to take a trade in gold at the same time in upward direction. They have an inverse correlation with each other on that. Let's find a good signal. We are not able to find a justified signal for that. That's why we are refraining from going ahead with the higher amount. Let's just confirm it. And yeah, there is one trick for this asset, If you watch it very closely, dear team, this SMA also indicates the strong and weak trend. The higher the distance the candle have from this line, the stronger the trend it indicates. And here, in that specific moment, you can go ahead with the trend. Let me rephrase it. The higher the distance the SMA have from the central line, the stronger the trend it indicates. For GBP USD, it's showing us a downtrend. Shall we take a trade? Probably we could have taken a trade on the second candle itself. Anyway, so let's go ahead and take a downward trend in here. For 7 minutes duration, we did it. Let's shuffle between assets once again. So what you can see, it's very good trend here. So Mahajantar index has a very strong uptrend going on so far. So we can confirm this by watching the candle for a minute duration. So we can go ahead with 3 minutes duration upward trade on this. Okay, so let's keep on shuffling between the assets. I really wanted to see a very good signals using diving strategy. So okay, so here what you can see, the candle formation is red, and here it is very close to this SMA line. So this is not a very good trade. No signal in here. Okay, let's just watch it very closely. It is below the candle. There is a price fluctuations, and all we can see is the doji candle. So on doji candle, it's very difficult to take a trade. Just wait for the moment to form. Watch it for 5 minutes duration for Apple, right? It's a doji candle. Okay, so we will be highly uncertain on this one. Yeah, trading is never ending, sir. You see, we all are learning, sir, from a different perspective. You probably have a different perspective on any specific asset, right, rather than mine. So we all are basically trades from a very different perspective. Our objective is to maximize the potential that the market have at that very moment, and you can do it by observing and then realizing how the potential. Okay, so exactly this is a very strong trend which we are seeing. The entry could have been better at this price level. Anyways, we had one of the news lined up for us. Within 12 minutes, they will be releasing this data. Have they released this data? Okay. Let me just confirm the timing once again. That's why we can see a little volatility from the financial market right now. Yeah, this is a very strong volatility. Guys, if you see candle something like this, please be very careful, because this might be an impact due to the major economic news events. Okay, let's confirm few more trades. I believe we have one of the trades open. Okay, so 5 minutes duration is crossing in an upward direction. So GBP JPY, let's go ahead, reduce the amount. Let's use a risk-free trade on this one. For 5 minutes duration. Now, why did we took a trade? Because this was pointing us in upward direction, correct, and the area is also pointing us in upward direction. That's why we took a trade on this one into the upward direction. I don't think we have that many signals available as of now, but let's just watch it. Okay, so no signal in here as well, dear team. We probably need to shift our graph to, okay, so this is, if you see a candle something like this is because of the volatility in the financial market. If there is a doji candle formation and it's highly fluctuating, that means it is because of the major news impact which happens to be there right now. Okay, let's find some more assets for us. No signal in here, no signal in here. So the area is pointing us in downward direction, then the area is increasing for this one. So this is not a very good opportunity to take a trade. All right, I believe that would be it for today's webinar, dear team. Let's look at some of the trades, how they are going so far. I wanted to check my last forex trade on this one. So on Nasdaq, we did open up a trade in upward direction. This is working in our favor and it's working amazingly well. So if you look at very closely, the value of Nasdaq is increasing, right? That means there is a very good probability that dollar can be decreasing. Yeah, it is decreasing. Alright, so this is it from my side, dear team. It was lovely meeting you once again. I'm very happy to see you once again. I would love to see you in the next session. Until then, keep on making profit and have an amazing weekend for you. Before signing off, let's look at, okay, so we ended up making on 34% profit. Okay, that's a good one. All right, I'll be seeing you in the next session, dear team. It is lovely to meet you once again. I'll be coming up in the next week with a lot of market analysis news and some more trading opportunities for us. I'm very happy to see you once again, and I'll see you in the next week probably. Take care.